بسم الله وبالله وعلى ملة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. يقول الله في كتابه الحكيم وهو أصدق الصادقين: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن جاءكم فاسق بنبأ فتبينوا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. The first salawat is in the honor of the Messenger of Allah, Muhammad bin Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. The second in the honor of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Mawla al-Muwahhideen, Ali bin Abi Talib. The third, in the honor of the Imam of our time, Imam al-Hujjah, Ajjalallahu Farajahu al-Sharif. When we look at the two main schools of Islam, Ahlul Sunnah and the Shia, we come to different conclusions. We understand things in a very different way. Many of us, we grow up in a Shia community, or the Sunni brothers and sisters grow up in a Sunni community, and they perceive things in a certain way. They have their own worldview. I always say worldview to make it more of a physical example. It's like your glasses, you put them on, and then this is your worldview, how you view things. Ahlul Sunnah understand certain matters or believe certain individuals in history to be great people, people of piety, or they have their own understanding of fiqh and so forth, or their own sciences of hadith, or their own understanding of aqa'id and their belief system. It all comes down to the hadith corpus, because within that hadith corpus, it's what it will allow them to conclude in the way that they conclude. Same thing goes with us. Now, of course, for the Shia we have the Ismailis, but they don't really have much of a hadith corpus. They do have a few books, but not much. The Zaydis, they do have books, but a lot of their books is chainless, so they don't have a chain of narrators going back to their imams and so forth. It's mursal. The Shia, no, we have our own asanid, so our own chain of narrators, and Ahlul Sunnah also do. Now, the primary question of today that we want to answer is, why do the Shia not trust Sunni Hadith? So why as Shia do we say, look, I don't take Bukhari, I don't take Musnad Ahmad bin Hanbal, I don't take Sahih Muslim, I take Al-Kafi, Al-Istibsar, Tahdhib al-Ahkam, Man la yahdarahu al-Faqih. These books, why? Why am I not taking from the books of Ahlul Sunnah? We will go through a few points, and these are not the only points as to why we don't take from them, but I chose the main ones and the ones that are the easiest to digest, because some of the other points that gives us the reason as to why we don't trust the hadith corpus is because it's a bit harder to digest. There's a lot of terminology and so on. So I stuck to what I thought was easy to digest, inshaAllah, so we can all learn together. Why is this topic an important topic? And it's very crucial that we understand when we delve into discussions, why are we delving into it? For example, we see there's a lot of debates we see on social media, and you got people debating silly topics That doesn't, even if you prove that person wrong on this topic, it doesn't mean Sunnism somehow collapses, for example. You have to be smart and strategic on what you are discussing and debating. This topic is important because us Shia understand the importance of referring back to our own corpus, our own hadith corpus. I will narrate to you a hadith found in the book Rijal al-Kashi. The chain is a strong chain. It's narrated from Abu Muhammad al-Fadl bin Shadhan. He said, my father asked Muhammad bin Abi Umayr. Muhammad bin Abi Umayr is the companion of Imam al-Kadhim. And he is one of the most important and famous narrators of hadith in our books. And he was a master of hadith. So the father of Al-Fadl bin Shadhan, he says, my father asked Muhammad bin Abi Umayr. Now listen carefully. You have met many of the mashayikh of the Amma. So it translates to the general public. It means the Sunnis. When you find this term in our books of hadith, or when the Imam is discussing, or the companions of the Imams, it means Ahl Sunnah, or the Sunnis, or the ones that are not Shia. But generally, because the Sunnis are the general population of the Muslim world, they would say the Amma. So he said, you have met many of the mashayikh of the Amma. So how did you not hear from them? So how did you not hear hadith? So he, Ibn Abi Umayr, replied, this is the important part. I did hear from them, except that I saw many of our companions heard a lot of knowledge of the Amma. In fact, if we look at the time and the generation that we are living in, a lot of us Shia know the books of Ahl Sunnah, but don't know our own books. And so he will tell you the problem that occurred in his time. He says, I did hear from them, except that I saw many of our companions, so the companions of the Imams, heard a lot of the knowledge of the Amma, so the ahadith of the Amma, and the knowledge of the Khasa. Who's the Khasa? The special ones, the Shia. So they mixed to the extent that they would narrate the narrations of the Amma, the Sunnis, from the Khasa, and the Khasa from the Amma. So I disliked that I would also mix them. So I left that. So he left narrating from them and attended to this, only narrating from the Khasa, only narrating from the Shia. Because our worldview will get mixed. Sure, can the Shia prove the Imama, the Khilafah, and the high status and virtues of Imam Ali from Sunni books? Absolutely. Can we show how the personalities they revere in their own books can be proven that they're actually not good people? Absolutely. But also at the same time, they do have many reports and sahih, authentic by their own standard, that they narrate from the Prophet that he said, for example, so and so are praiseworthy, or so and so will be from heaven, and so on. So that's why when a Sunni says, look, for example, Abu Bakr and Umar are good people, you Shias are a bit weird, you're going crazy. Look what the Prophet said here, look what the Prophet said here, this is sahih, this is sahih, this is sahih. We say, brother, we don't even believe in your books in that way. We say, and this is a big disclaimer, and this is a very important point for us to highlight. We do not say that the hadith corpus of Ahl Sunnah is all fabricated. That's untrue. Also, we do not say that the books of Ahl Sunnah, we don't approve of some of the reports. And we also say, we do not say that the books of Ahl Sunnah are not needed. No, we need the books of Ahl Sunnah. They are part of the Hadith corpus. You know, sometimes to know who is lying, you need to know what the liar is saying and how he operates and how he thinks. And also, a liar doesn't always lie. And in fact, we say the books of Ahl Sunnah is the continuation of our Hadith corpus. Because we're not here to say our Hadith corpus is divine, it has no problems, it doesn't have any issues where we would have to go through a process of the different Islamic sciences for us to be able to see what is trustworthy, what isn't. No, we're not saying that either. But we are saying that the books of the Shia are narrating from the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. And that is very crucial. We say, so think about it like that. You have a program, the antivirus program. That is the Shia Hadith corpus. The Sunni Hadith will go through that program. At the end of it, you will see if it's to be trusted or not. I'll give you an example. We have many reports where the companions come to the Imam and they say, this has been narrated that this companion has said so and so from the Prophet, that the Prophet said so and so. The Imam will confirm it or deny it, or tell him that, look, they actually misunderstood. Or that the companion only narrated the first sentence. We argue, when we argue for the position of Imamah from a rational standpoint, this is crucial. We say, we are not just saying we have textual evidence for Imamah. We are saying we have rational evidence for Imamah. Why? After the Prophet, the companions contradicted each other. One companion will say that the Prophet did this. Another companion said, no, he didn't do this. Or that the Prophet said, this is halal. The other one says, no, it's haram. And so on. This contradiction occurred because some of them lied. Some of them misunderstood. Some of them only heard parts of the hadith. Some of them heard the Prophet say it, but didn't hear the Prophet abrogate that ruling later on. You need the Imam to protect the Quran and Sunnah, to protect the correct understanding of the Quran and Sunnah. That is our argument. Is that there is only one man after the Messenger of Allah. There is only one companion of the Prophet who said, I have absolute, complete knowledge of the Quran and Sunnah. And that was Ali bin Abi Talib. Sallu ala Muhammad wa al Muhammad. Ya Ali. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. A second reason as to why this is an important discussion. I feel like, and I went through it when I was younger, is, you know, you're harsh upon Tashayyu'. Shi'ism is right. Everyone is wrong. No, how can you like this personality? They attacked the house of Az-Zahra. Why are you saying this? We have to have some type of sympathy towards our brothers and sisters from Ahl Sunnah. They have, this is what is found in their hadith corpus. Within this lecture, we're going to show them, look, you can't actually trust this hadith corpus. There are too many problems. But in reality, it's found in their books. This companion X, companion Y, is a good person because the Prophet said this. This is what's found in their books. They have their own fiqhi understanding because it's found in their books. So we have to show some type of sympathy because we deal with them on a day-to-day basis. So they understand as to, look, this is why we have a problem with your hadith corpus. And in fact, it shows, and it will show them that, look, we have our own hadith corpus, so we understand certain matters different to you because of our hadith corpus. The third one, so that we may know how to deal with the Sunni Hadith, what to look out for, and why our Hadith corpus is so important for us as Shia. We'll go through example 1. And the first reason as to why we do not trust the Sunni Hadith corpus. For Ahl Sunnah, they believe in a concept called the universal uprightness of the companions, adalat al-Sahaba. And they believe that this is crucial. So this doesn't mean, it's a bit of a weird one, because when you look at the word adala, what uprightness means, it means someone that doesn't commit shirk, kufr, he doesn't commit evil deeds, he doesn't do innovations, right? They have that understanding. But when it comes to the companions of the Prophet, they say, no! Adala here means they don't lie. So they say, a majority of them believe that there's different opinions, but around 100,000 companions. They say none of them lied against the Prophet. None of them. So you're like, oh, he's not capable of lying? No, he would never lie. Oh, okay. We'll get into it as we go along. There's a book called Al-Kifaya fi Ilm al-Ruwaya. He's a 5th century scholar. He's a Sunni master of Hadith. His name is Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi. Look what he says in that book. It's a book about the Hadith sciences. He says, what has come concerning Allah and His Messenger's declaration of the uprightness of the companions, and that there is no need to inquire about them. I want you to just imagine something with me. You have the Prophet. The companion hears from the Prophet. The student of the companion hears from the companion of the Prophet. The student of the companion hears the Hadith, and it goes on. They are saying the first generation that heard from the Prophet, we don't inquire about them. We don't look into whether they are trustworthy or not, and he'll tell you why. There is no need to inquire about them. Rather, that is obligatory only with respect to those below them in the chain of narrators. Every hadith whose chain of transmission is connected between the one who narrated it and the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and his family is from me, is not binding to act upon except after the uprightness of its transmitters. So he's saying the word of the Prophet doesn't become binding upon you until you verify that all of the narrators are adul. And their circumstances must be examined. Ahlul Sunnah, by the way. So we're not just here just bashing them. No. Their hadith sciences, sure, it has its flaws and so on, and we'll discuss it a bit today as well, inshallah. But it's very precise and detailed in certain areas. You have to examine the biography of the narrator of hadith. You have to know if he's trustworthy or not. The people that were around him, did they believe he was trustworthy? Have they ever seen him lie? Because remember, the religion is based upon 2 wings, the Quran and the Sunnah. And if you can't verify the hadith of the Prophet properly, then you have a major problem. So he continues, he says, and their circumstances must be examined except for the companions who relates it up to the Messenger of God. because the uprightness of the companions is firmly established and well known by God's declaring them upright and His informing of their purity and His choosing them in the explicit text of the Quran. So he's saying, look, I'm going to give it to you from the get-go. All of the narrators we will examine, a thorough examination, except the companions. Why? Because of the Quranic verses that show that they are upright. But it's just like Khatib al-Baghdadi, Habibi. What about the verses that condemn the companions? What about the ahadith, or the reports, shall we say, that show us they killed each other, they called each other liars, they insulted each other, they cursed each other, they excommunicated each other, they did all of this, but no, they don't lie. So this is the first problem that we have with the books of Ahl Sunnah. They don't have books. So in the Sunni world, it's called ilm al-jarh wa ta'deel. So it's the discussion of the chain of narrators, right? And they say you don't find the companions of the Prophet found in their books where they criticize the narrators. Why? They're all udul, all 100,000 of them, 120,000 of them, depending on what number you go for. All of them, they kill, they murder, they drink alcohol, they sell alcohol, they do haram, they innovate. But somehow, no, they don't lie. We argue with them, and they, by the way, one of their arguments is this. They say, rationally, how can the narrators, at clear sight, at the apparent sight, it looks like a good argument. They say, how can the narrators of the Quran and the ones that heard from the Prophet, how can they not be all just? Habibi. So, if that's the case, what about the narrator that comes after him? He has to be just too. Or is the companion the only narrator of the Quran? No. The narrator of the Quran is the companion. Correct, no problem. But he narrates it to who? His student. His student narrates it to who? His student. And so on until it reached us. So by that standard, pick up all your books of al-jarh wa ta'deel, throw them in the bin, and let's just say, no, all of them are trustworthy because they are the narrators of the Quran and the Sunnah. It's absurd. It's absurd argument to even bring forward. And we also say, with regards to the verses that praise the companions, we say they are either praising the companions with regards to the circumstances of the time, but with the circumstances, that means there was a Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. I need to remember the word. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. That's the word. Condition. There is a condition with these verses. For example, the verse that says Allah is pleased with those that gave allegiance under the tree. Sure, okay. By the way, they always use that verse, but even in their books, it's only about 1,400 companions that were there. It wasn't all of them, so it doesn't even prove that all the companions were just. But all the companions were under the tree for argument's sake. Let's just go with their argument. We say, what did they give allegiance to the Prophet under the tree? One of the conditions was that they will never run in battlefield. You know, some of them, they were good runners. I don't run, as you could tell, but he runs. They were good runners. Yeah. He was a good runner. But so what we say is, okay, so he praised them, but there was conditions for that praise. It wasn't absolute. And the verse when Allah is praising them, that must continue. And we say when Allah sometimes praises the companions, even by their own standards, by their own hadith corpus, He's praising them, and among them are hypocrites. They'll tell you, no, Allah's not obviously talking about them. Okay, so Allah's not talking about all of them. End of story. End of discussion. So we say to them, and this is a crucial argument, if the Sahaba are capable of apostating, leaving the religion, and they agree, by the way, the scholars will tell you, yeah, some of them apostated. Jayyid. He can apostate, leave the religion. He can do haram. He can sell alcohol. He can drink alcohol. He can kill the other companion. He can insult the other companion. He can excommunicate the other companion. He can innovate, but he can't lie. Why? Why? Well, how does that make sense? Where are you getting that? And where does the Quran praise them and say that these individuals, all of them, by the definition of what they define as a companion? By the way, they don't even agree upon the definition. Now, there's a majority that have agreed now. But I'm talking in the first few centuries, they didn't agree upon the definition of Sahaba. A Sahabi before was, so now this is what they agree upon now, is someone who met the Prophet, believed in him, and died upon that, died upon Islam. Okay. Can you prove by that definition that Allah praised all of the companions? Absolutely not. So all of these verses, they're either not absolute, or they are absolute but there's conditions. And them conditions must stay consistent. Why would I believe, I'm talking to Ahl Sunnah, and I mean no disrespect to them, why would I believe in the companions when I know that they committed so many different sins, they killed and did what they did? So that is the first reason as to why us Shia have a problem with the hadith corpus of Ahl Sunnah, because the first generation that narrated from the Prophet are not examined. We examine everyone. We examine everyone from the beginning of the chain till the end. Companion or no companion. By the way, you know, there's a very important point with regards to Ahl Sunnah, and they do this thing. The Shia curse the Sahaba. You're like to him, hold on. We're not denying that we curse some of the Sahaba. We make dua against them. But do we curse all of the companions? No. Okay, so why are you saying companions? So you saying some of the companions is very important, because we don't. Some of the companions of the Prophet were some of the greatest men in history. Some of the greatest men. We'll go to the second example, or the second reason. Sunni Islam is the religion of the governments. I don't want to get into politics too much, but when we look at some Muslim countries right now, concerts, I think that right now one of them is opening up the biggest casino, I think, either in the Middle East or the world. And when you look at and you interact, and I interact with them, I see them, a lot of them come to London. And when you interact with them, they're okay with it, They change as the world goes. But us Shia are different. When the superpowers gather, we stay firm, because we follow a man called Al-Hussein bin Ali. We don't break. لبيك يا حسين لبيك يا حسين يا حبيبي. We are the religion of the oppressed, the Mazlumeen. We're the religion, when we are outnumbered, we stay firm, we do not break. We are the sons of Al-Hussein bin Ali, Ali al-Akbar, Al-Abbas alayhi salam. We have honor, dignity. When we are overpowered, we stay firm, we don't break. When the world is crying, oh, why are you enforcing hijab? Why are you doing this? We tell them, listen, because Islam tells us it's wajib. You like it or you don't like it. This is the deen of Allah. This is the deen of Muhammad. This is the deen of Ahlul Bayt alayhum as-salam. Anyway, we went sideways, but with the Sunni Islam, it's the religion of the governments. Why is that a problem? It becomes a problem because the governments, wherever they go, the scholars of the dollars will go. We see it literally today. We literally see it. I'll give you some examples. Abdul Razzaq, Sunni Muhaddith, he has a book called Musannaf Abdul Razzaq. He narrates with his chain from Ibn Abbas. He says the scribe of the document on the day of Hudaybiyah was Ali bin Abi Talib. So the one that wrote the document for the Treaty of Hudaybiyah was Ali bin Abi Talib. Then, following the report, the teacher of Abdul Razzaq, he said, Ma'mar informed us, so he informed Abdul Razzaq, I asked Az-Zuhri. Az-Zuhri is one of the biggest narrators of hadith. You find him in Bukhari, Muslim and so on. I asked Az-Zuhri about it, so he laughed and said, it was Ali bin Abi Talib. If you were to ask those people, they would say Uthman, and he means Bani Umayyah. Az-Zuhri was in the time of Bani Umayyah. So he's saying, and by the way, he's a Sunni Muhaddith, he's got nothing to do with Shi'ism. He says, they will tell you it's Uthman. I say, the biggest, the most personality in history where his virtues were stolen was Ali bin Abi Talib. Oh, Al-Hassan wal-Hussein are the youth leaders of paradise. Oh, no, that's true. The Prophet said that. They couldn't deny it. But Abu Bakr and Umar are the elders, the leaders of the elders in paradise. Okay, great. I don't think, okay, if that's what you want to say, good for you. Now, by the way, there are many examples so we are on reason 2 now. There are many examples, but I'm only going to bring some. There's a scholar called Al-Dhahabi. He's famous for a book called Siyar A'lam al-Nubala. He is the student of who? Our good friend Ibn Taymiyyah. Okay? I'm being sarcastic, yeah? He said in his book Siyar A'lam al-Nubala, focus on the words that he says, because sometimes you want to hear them tell the truth, you have to hear it from their own mouth. And many people succeeded Muawiyah who loved him, went to extremes regarding him. Yeah, definitely. They call him the uncle of the believers. I don't know, is there going to be a cousin of the believers, the nephew of the believers, the sister of the believers? Anyway, and many people succeeded Muawiyah who loved him, went to the extremes regarding him, and preferred him either because he had won them over through generosity, and preferred him either because he had won them, generosity, forbearance, giving, or because they were born in Sham upon love for him and their children were raised upon that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never allow our children to be raised upon that. Because we only have one wala. After Rasulullah, it's for Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. It's for the Amir al-Mu'mineen. Sallu ala Muhammad wa Muhammad. Ya Ali. Among them were a small group of companions and a large number of the tabi'een. Tabi'een, the generation that came after the companions, and virtuous people. They fought alongside him against the people of Iraq and were raised upon nasb. Nasb. Nasb means they hated Ahl al-Bayt alayhum as-salam. They hated Imam Ali. So he's actually saying it. We seek refuge with God from our desires. So he admits Muawiyah would buy. Muawiyah, thank you brother. Muawiyah would buy people and be generous to them so that they love Bani Umayyah. I mean, we're seeing it now in Syria. And what we say is, when the government becomes in control of the religion, it will change and play with religion to what it benefits them. There's a hadith I want to narrate to you. It's found in Musnad Ahmad, and it's a authentic chain. It's sahih, so authentic by the conditions, upon the conditions of Sahih Muslim. Ahmad bin Hanbal narrates with his chain from Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan. Listen to this. Be aware of the hadiths of the Messenger of God. Listen to it. Be aware of the hadiths of the Messenger of God, except for a hadith that was known during the time of Umar. For indeed Umar was the most fearful of God among the people. Do you know who stopped the writing down of hadith and stopped the culture of hadith and made it a law of the land to stop the hadith of the Prophet? Umar bin al-Khattab. Good one, Muawiyah. Well done. That was a very good point. Well done. So this is the problem when you have a religion where it's hadith, where the hadith corpus is linked, connected, embedded with the government. Wherever the government goes, it will go. Let's go to example 3, or the third reason. Censorship of hadith. They censored hadith. Listen to this. There's a book called Kitab al-Sunnah by Al-Khallal. He was the student of the son of Ahmad bin Hanbal. So he was the student of the son of Ahmad bin Hanbal. He is famous for gathering the sayings, verdicts, and travels of Ahmad bin Hanbal. So a lot of his books is about the life, the rulings, the sayings of Ahmad bin Hanbal. He narrates with his chain from Abu Abdullah. Abu Abdullah is Ahmad bin Hanbal. He was asked about a man who narrates a hadith. And I want you to remember, focus on this. Ahmad bin Hanbal is a master of hadith. His book, Musnad Ahmad bin Hanbal, if I'm not wrong, if my memory serves me right, is 30 volumes. 30 volumes. It's not a joke. He's a master of hadith. Look what he says. He was asked about a man who narrates a hadith in which there is something critical concerning the companions of the Messenger of God. Alayhi afdal salatu wassalam. Should he say, I narrate it as I heard it? He said, look what Ahmad bin Hanbal says, it does not please me that a man narrates a hadith in which there is something critical concerning the companions of the Messenger of God, peace and blessings be upon him and his family is from me. He said, indeed, focus here, brothers and sisters, I don't know if there's sisters here, but indeed, I strike out more than one hadith among those in which there is something. So something here is something critical concerning the companions of the Messenger of God. And this report is sahih. So you imagine, in other words, what he's trying to say is, a trustworthy man comes to him who narrates from his chain, and they're all trustworthy, that this companion drank alcohol, or this companion killed this companion. Ahmad bin Hanbal said, I don't like that, and I strike them out from narrating them. Censorship. When you tell me, as a Shi'i, why do you not trust my hadith corpus? This is one of the reasons. I'll give you another example. The same book. He narrates with his chain. The narrator says, I asked Ahmad bin Hanbal, about Ubaidullah bin Musa al-Absi. He died around 120 after Hijrah. He said, Kufan, he's from Kufa. I said, how is he as God wills? He seems like he doesn't really want to answer. I said, how is he? Asks again. Oh, Aba Abdullah. He said, it does not please me to narrate from him. Oh, why? He says, the narrator says, why? He narrates hadiths in which there is disparagement of the companions of the Messenger of God. Allahu Akbar. He doesn't want to narrate from him. By the way, Al-Dhahabi in Siyar A'lam al-Nubala, he says Ubaidullah bin Musa al-Absi was the first to compile a musnad arranged according to the Sahaba in Kufa. He believed that Abu Bakr and Umar were superior to Imam Ali, but he hated Muawiyah. So they trusted him. There's a funny story about him. I'll narrate it to you just as a side note. So it said he would not allow anyone named Muawiyah to enter his house. It was said Muawiyah bin Salih al-Ash'ari entered upon him. So he said, what is your name? He said, Muawiyah. He said, by God, I will not narrate to you, nor will I narrate to a group in which you are present. Get out of here. Your name is Muawiyah. Get out of here. That's what he's saying. Now, some have, of course, claimed that he is a Rafidi because he hated Muawiyah. But they accept his narrations in other parts. But the reason Ahmad bin Hanbal gives, he says because he narrates critical reports about the companions. This is shocking. Look at the amount of censorship that's happening. You know, there's even another point that's very crucial. Is that there used to be a fear to narrate hadith in the time of Umar, or there was fear to narrate a hadith that goes against what the governments believed. For example, Abu Huraira in Al-Mustadrak al-Sahihain, in a reliable report, in an authentic report, he says, I memorized or learnt from the hadiths of the Messenger of God certain hadiths which I have not narrated to you. Had I narrated even one of them to you, you would have pelted me with stones. So we're not just getting censorship because it goes against what they believe. No, their own narrators are scared to narrate narrations because the people can't accept it, because the governments won't accept it, because the one that is ruling doesn't accept it. How do you expect me to go and accept it? You know what's even shocking? The muhaddithin of Ahl Sunnah were known, not all of them, some of them, were known to sell hadith. Sell hadith. There's a narrator by the name of Hisham bin Ammar. He's a narrator in Bukhari, Ibn Majah, Abu Dawood, and they believe he is trustworthy. Yani you imagine it's the 2nd century and we're walking in the streets of Baghdad and we go into the market. I'm exaggerating a bit, but it's a good story to say. And you're walking and you look to the left, it's Abu Muhammad, he's selling some fruits. You look to the right, you have Abu Ali, he's selling some vegetables. The next shop is selling, leather. The other one is selling ghee, oil. Oh, what are you selling? Hadith. Sorry? Yeah. A long hadith, I'll give it to you for 10 dirham. A short hadith, I'll give it to you for 2. And there is a possibility for buy one, get one free. What are we doing? Now, I have to be honest. If a narrator is selling hadith, it doesn't necessitate straight away that he's a liar. We're not saying that. But what we are saying, it leaves a huge question mark. Question mark. Even their own scholars, by the way, some of their scholars are split on this. Okay? They're scholars of hadith. Some of them say that you shouldn't narrate from someone selling hadith. Some of them say no, it's okay. But I can say this, my probability and my feeling towards a person that's selling hadith, my trust in him and if he's trustworthy or not will not be the same. This hadith narrator, Hisham bin Ammar, it's narrated, again, Al-Dhahabi narrates in his book Siyar A'lam al-Nubala. Listen to this, he narrates. So the narrator of this hadith, he says, I attended the session of Hisham bin Ammar. The Mustamli said, whom did you mention? He replied, some of our shaykhs narrated to us. Then he became drowsy. So this Hisham bin Ammar became drowsy, got a bit tired. Listen to this. Then he said to him, whom did you mention? He became drowsy again, so he doesn't want to tell them the chain. The Mustamli said to him, do not benefit from him. So they collected something from him and gave it to him. So they collected from the people and gave it to him. After that, he dictated to them until they themselves became weary. So he was sitting there and then they were there and he was getting a bit tired, pretending he's tired, he's a bit drowsy. Then they gave him some money, he woke up. In fact, in another report, it's mentioned that the masters of hadith, of Ahl Sunnah, they would actually say, don't narrate from him. Some of them said, don't narrate from him, he sells hadith. Even al-Dhahabi, after mentioning these reports, he says, it is astonishing with respect to this Imam, Hisham bin Ammar, despite his eminence, how he did this while he was not in need and he possessed his own ijtihad. So they saw it as something negative. And this is a problem within itself. They even have reports of some of their muhaddithin. Do you know what they do? He goes, listen, don't come here. I won't narrate unless you give me this amount of gold. I don't know, scholar for dollar, or where are we going? I don't know where it is, bad. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Talking about censorship, I want to narrate to you what al-Dhahabi says. And I want you to understand, this individual, al-Dhahabi, the student of Ibn Taymiyyah, is a grand, major master of hadith for Ahl Sunnah. Look what he says, again in his book, Siyar A'lam al-Nubala. It has been established that one must refrain from much of what occurred between the companions and their fighting. You know, they have a principle which is, don't talk about what happened between the companions. And he'll tell you why. May God be pleased with them all. Such reports continue to appear before us in the chronicles, books and collected parts, but most of them are disconnected or weak, and some of them are lies. It's not true, by the way. Absolutely not true. We can come up with volumes of books of how the Sahaba killed, lied, innovated, drank alcohol, sold alcohol, cursed each other, insulted each other, and so forth. This is regarding what is in our hands and among our scholars. Thus it is proper to fold such material away. Focus here, brothers. Such material away and conceal it. How do you want me to come and trust your hadith corpus and we are seeing this type of statements by your scholars? I'll continue. Not to publicize it, disseminate it and spread it. So they don't want it to spread. That's why, that's why they have this concept. Don't talk with the people of innovation. That's why they said don't talk to the Shia. Most brothers and sisters that I know became Shia. Do you know how they became Shia? He goes, my parents or my local imam in the masjid would tell me don't go near the Shia. So I got curious, or I met a Shia in uni and then I'm praying next to him, and then they find out everything that they told them about the Shia is a lie. And then they become Shia. This is a problem. He said, rather it should be folded away, concealed, indeed eliminated, so that hearts may remain pure and wholly devoted to loving the companions. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. So let's hide the truth. Let's burn the books. Let's put everything away. Why? So that we can have pure love for the companions. La habibi. The deen of Allah doesn't work like that. The scale of truth and justice, truth and falsehood doesn't work like that. The scale of justice and injustice, truth and falsehood, is that you go wherever the evidences and proofs take you. We're not here to hide the truth. We're not here to burn books, conceal them, because we are insecure, because we can't argue for the individuals or personalities that we believe in. And invoking mercy for them. Concealing this, look at his words, is obligatory with respect to the general public and to the individual scholars, concealing those books that contain disparagement, belittlement, degrading of the companions of the Messenger of God. Allahu Akbar. Destroying those books is obligatory. I say to you, Wallah, I remember a scholar said it. He said, Wallah, Wallah, thumma Wallah. We should feel so appreciative of the scholars of the past that allowed, that through their blood, sacrifice and sweat, to allow the books of hadith, the hadith corpus of Ahlul Bayt alayhum as-salam to reach us. But then he said another word that was great. He said, it's a mercy from Allah that all of that we find about the companions or some of the companions or the enemies of Ahlul Bayt that is found in their books, you should thank Allah. Because the way, how did it get through? Only Allah knows. We've seen now, they don't investigate the companions. They censorship. The governments sway them left and right to how they narrate and what is their religion. This is the problem that they have. We should thank Allah that somehow the Sunni Muhaddithin, it slipped their mind and allowed these narrations to come to us or reach us. Destroying those books is obligatory. Hiding and suppressing them is obligatory. Allahu Akbar. And none of that should be shown to the general public nor to individual scholars, let alone students of knowledge, even advanced ones. It may be permitted for a fair-minded scholar to examine such material privately, one who is worthy of reaching the truth and free of bias, on the condition that he seeks forgiveness for them. Oh no, he can't just investigate the books. No, he has to constantly say, oh, I can't believe companion X did this, man. But may Allah have mercy. I know you killed this companion, but may Allah have mercy upon you, and may Allah have mercy upon you. I get you innovated in religion. You changed the religion of God, but may God have mercy upon you. Wallah. And what do you do? Where do you go? What do you say? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. On the condition that he seeks forgiveness for them, as God taught us when he said, and those who came after them say, our Lord, forgive us and our brothers who preceded us in faith, and place not in our hearts any hate or dislike, shall we say, towards those who have believed. Our Lord, you are indeed most kind, most merciful. First of all, the verse is talking about the people who are upon faith. Absolutely. May Allah have mercy upon Salman al-Muhammadi. May Allah have mercy upon Ammar bin Yasir. May Allah have mercy upon Miqdad al-Aswad. May Allah have mercy upon Abu Dharr al-Ghifari. May Allah have mercy upon Abu Ayyub al-Ansari. May Allah have mercy upon Jabir bin Abdullah al-Ansari. May Allah have mercy upon all of the companions of the Messenger of Allah who stayed loyal to the Messenger of Allah. Absolutely. But you got the one that's a fasiq, a fajr, a munharif, a mubtadi'. Absolutely not. I will not ask Allah to forgive him unless he's shown that he is someone to be trusted and did a mistake. That's a different story. But then not some of these companions that have done what they've done, that attacked Ahlul Bayt, that fought against Ahlul Bayt. Let's go to reason 4, and it's the last reason. So they didn't just censor and they burnt books and they destroyed books or kept books private, or they just didn't narrate from certain narrators because he just narrating the truth that this companion did this. No. They played a different game now. This game is that they changed the words within the ahadith to protect the companions. Look at this. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Al-Humaydi is a Sunni scholar of Hadith. He is the teacher of Bukhari. Focus on that, please, yeah? He is the teacher of Bukhari. In Hadith, or in Hadith terminology, when you say this is my teacher, it usually means that he narrates to me a hadith. So, Bukhari in his book, he actually narrates from Al-Humaydi. Al-Humaydi narrates from, please focus on the narrators within the chain. Al-Humaydi in his Musnad, the teacher of Bukhari, from Sufyan, who narrates from Amr bin Dinar, who narrates from Tawus, who narrates from Ibn Abbas. It reached Umar bin al-Khattab that Samura had sold wine. Samura is who? Companion. But may Allah have mercy upon him, you know. These are the greatest generation. They drank alcohol. They sold alcohol. They killed. They innovated. They lied. They attacked the household of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Did he not know that the messenger of God, peace and blessings upon him and his family from me, said, so the messenger of God said, God cursed the Jews. Fat was forbidden to them, so they melted it down and sold it. So Allah said to them, look, it's haram for you to eat fat. And it was forbidden for them. So they was like, okay, it's forbidden for us, but okay, what we'll do, we'll melt it down, we'll sell it. Okay. Now, let's go to Sahih al-Bukhari. Focus with me, brothers. Bukhari narrates from Al-Humaydi, who narrates from Sufyan, who narrates from Amr bin Dinar, who narrates from Tawus, who narrates from Ibn Abbas. It reached Umar bin al-Khattab, listen to the words here now, that so and so had sold wine. So he said, so Umar bin al-Khattab said, may God fight so and so. It's not censorship. What he did was, he said, you know what, I'm feeling good today. I'm not going to burn the book. I'm not going to do that. No, I'm just going to say, kada wa kada. Fulan wa fulan. Remember, Al-Humaydi, who narrates from Sufyan, who narrates from Amr bin Dinar, who narrates from Tawus, who narrates from Ibn Abbas. Bukhari narrates from Al-Humaydi, his teacher, the same chain, from Sufyan, who narrates from Amr bin Dinar, who narrates from Tawus, who narrates from Ibn Abbas. Same report. And there are many examples like this. I just didn't want to make the lecture too long. How do you expect me to trust this hadith corpus? Some were selling hadith like it's an auction. You know when you go to the car auction and it says 500, going up 600. Allah, what's going on? What's happening? Governments are playing around with it. We are seeing that Muawiyah is buying people, and that's why they love him. He's buying people to change their ideologies. By the way, you know when we talk about Imam al-Hassan, the circumstances he went under, the stress and pressure is unbelievable. It wasn't just that Muawiyah and his army were strong. No, he was buying people. He was buying people. Allahu Akbar. Inshallah, we got, like I said, there is actually quite a lot more to be said. But I felt like that required a lot of discussion for me to be able to explain it. So I thought this was more easier to digest, easier to take in. And I hope that anyone from Ahl Sunnah watches this, it should make them think. Think about what's going on. Ask questions. So we say, and this is the final word for me inshallah, the Shia Hadith corpus, the words of Ahlul Bayt that can be proven to be authentic within our books, are like the antivirus for the books of Hadith. You bring the books of Ahlul Sunnah, you put it through this program, it will analyze it, it will tell you, and it will follow through. In fact, a lot of the narrations we have in our books, we get a better understanding of the ahadith of Ahlul Bayt because of the environment of the Imam, which we get where? In which books of Hadith? In the books of Ahlul Sunnah. So this is very crucial that we understand as to why we as Shia do not trust the books of Ahlul Sunnah. هذا وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.